Hello, it's February 8th, 2024, and this is an interview with Donna Shea. Hi, Donna.
Hi, Lexi.
Thanks
for having me.
Of course, it's my pleasure. So we'll start off with the first question. Can you please briefly describe the Peter Pan Center for Social and Emotional Growth?
Sure. So the center is 23 years old now, and it was formed in 2002 to meet needs of families of kids who had behavioral and social difficulties. So primarily, I offer social skills learning groups, and then I also offer parent support around for the families of children who come here around dealing with school, and I also do professional development for educators and parent groups.
Great, that's great. I'll move on to the second question. According to my course material, one aspect of being part of a community is the identity forming process that explains how some members are part of the community and others are not. What are some ways that would make someone a member specifically of the Peter Pan community?
That is an interesting question.
Yeah,
Makes me think.
Yeah.
Well, when I'm talking on the phone with parents, I can describe that the profile of our community members involves children and families that are struggling with the social side or behavioral side of diagnoses such as ADHD, high-functioning autism, and anxiety. Those are primarily the characteristics of the kids who join the community here.
Great. Awesome. And how do you think the general morals and values of the Peter Pan community helps to influence and shape its members' own values and morals? Like, do you think that being here on a regular basis influences its members' values?
And I think influence is the right word, because we can never control anybody else's morals and values. I was just doing a professional development on this today. Like how we can create or help with some influence over a child's decision or choice. But ultimately, everyone makes their own choices and decisions.
That's true. That's a great point.
Yep.
Yeah. Another key aspect of the definition of community is its fostering of freedom, diversity, and tolerance. Please describe a couple ways that the Peter Pan community fosters freedom, diversity, and tolerance.
Interesting. Well, I am a believer that, actually, I think that's all we do.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
That's all we do is the tricky part is when you're looking to teach a child social skills. We're trying to get them to fit in to the bigger community outside of here. And the trick is doing that without taking away their freedom to be who they are.
Right.
And their neurodivergence.
I like that a lot.
And all of that. So there's this cool part where a kid inherently knows they can kind of be who they are safely here, while we're teaching them kind of the necessary cultural, social requirements to blend in as necessary.
That's
when they
great.
need to.
Yeah, that's one thing I love about Peter Pan. Let's move on to the next one. Here it is. In additional course material, I learned that interpersonal interaction is immensely helpful with early intervention and help seeking among youth as opposed to traditional therapeutic sources. Please give an example of how you encourage and utilize interpersonal interaction among the children at Peter Pan Center.
I guess, again, that's kind of all we do.
Right.
So, yeah, traditional therapy... did it stop?
Oh, no.
Nope. Okay. Traditional therapy has not been very successful for most of the kids that I work with.
And that's one of the things we're learning. It can be a common occurrence, and that we've learned in this course, that traditional therapy isn't always helpful for, more vulnerable people and youth.
For more vulnerable people and youth, or on the other side of it, I've seen that there are many kids that kind kind of excel at traditional therapy because they're just talking to one adult, and that's easy.
Yeah.
But it's not tackling their social emotional needs because they're not in. Most of the kids that have come here, their deficits are in a group setting.
Right.
And so traditional therapy is great, I think, for processing feelings and for the strategies, but it doesn't implement the strategies.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that interaction interpersonal thing is what takes and implements the strategies.
Right.
So I've always seen that some kids do great with a balance of both, and some kids need one or the other.
Perfect. Thank you. According to my course material, interventions for one group might not be appropriate when applied to other groups. I know I've seen that a lot here.
In person. Right?
Yeah. How do you apply this philosophy when working at Peter Pan with the children?
By the seat of my pants, I call it. Most of the time working with children in groups really is on the fly. And I think you've seen that too.
Yeah.
Like how you decide you're going to interact with a group of kids really depends on their collective mood for the day, how things are going for the day,
Right.
your own mood that day. But for the most part, here, I'm definitely interacting with my middle school group definitely differently than I am with my little group. So I think you really have to look at the stage of development that your group is in as well.
That's a great point. Yeah, that's so true. And in a grassroots organization, individuals at the ground level at the community group are involved in the community interventions and planning. Would you consider the children at Peter Pan to be involved in their own social interventions, and if so, how?
I think inherently the way we are set up, I mean, because we are giving them the coaching and the tips, and it is their involvement is to take that forward into school and community outside of here. So their motivation as to whether or not they're going to accept the interventions and use the interventions really is up to them. So definitely.
And I'd like to add to that too, as I've seen your work with the children and the other staff's work here, that we'll ask them questions instead of just telling them how to handle something. So I think in that way they're involved in, their social learning.
Right, and that's a really good point that, we do ask them to think it through rather than just telling them what to do, because we want them to be able to do it for themselves. That's kind of the whole point of this game.
And that brings me to my last question, which kind of goes with that. How does Peter Pan foster empowerment in its own community?
Personal empowerment, you mean? Like?
Yeah, I think personal empowerment.
I think it goes back to, children who are motivated to accept the intervention, then become successful, and then feel some of that personal empowerment that, I can be successful at this if I change this.
Yeah.
Or if I add this to my strategy bucket.
Okay.
So the more success you have at something, I think the more empowered you're going to feel.
Right. I agree with that. Yeah. Well, thank you so much.
My
that
pleasure.
was great.
I'm glad I could help with your paper.
Yeah. And can I for the interview, can I tell the audience where to find your website?
Sure.
Okay.
Absolutely.
So what would the website be?
It's just www.peterpancenter.com.
Okay.
And we also have a Facebook page.
Perfect.
Yeah.
All right. And that's Donna Shea. Thank you so much, Donna.
Thanks, Lex.
Yep.